Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead. And the instruments and the changes, and especially in America, where he has disrupted all the regulations to do shit. He's done away with 70-80% of all the regulations to run government, all that. He's made money freer. It's easier. For every dollar you put in a bank can be loaned out between 20 and 40 times around the world, except for a few places, Russia and a couple others. Well, he's increased the velocity of money. Okay? You don't need to understand what that means, but what that means is they can put money in the fucking street 3 to 5 times quicker. And the big guys know that. The little mooches, your parents don't know that. They don't know shit, right? So unfortunately, the rich are going to get richer and the poor are going to stay poor. But the world understands that. And they don't give a shit that we're trading lives for money. Now, they say they've got a vaccine. I hope they do. But up until they got the vaccine in the last, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, the market's going like this. People are dying in the fucking street. We broke through 30,000 on the Dow, 6,000 on the FT. That shouldn't be. The market's saying, fuck the poor guy, fuck the little guy. I'm on board. Pull up the gangplank. And the big money knows it. And it couldn't be rosier for us. Because while they're running scared, you have now joined you are now the 5th horseman of the apocalypse. Raping, pillaging, and plundering your way to riches. There's no competition. Zero. None. And the banks want to give you the money without robbing them with a gun like Jesse James. It can't get any better. When I say this is fucking it, this is fucking it. That's why the Dow's going through 30,000. I wouldn't be surprised in this decade to see the Dow at 50,000, 60,000. And property prices have gone down 8 quarters in a row in Manhattan, 8 quarters in a row in Mayfair. Property is through. Through as the original store value it used to be. It's over. What are they going to do with 14 million square feet of empty fucking space they're going to have in Manhattan? What? Because now you can work from home, which I don't like that model at all, but they're going to try to turn it into condos and shit. A condo before Corona sold for $118 million or something. The penthouse, most expensive in Manhattan. The guy that paid that $118 million has probably killed himself by now. Because now it's worth $40 million, which is still a lot of money, but not $118 million. And the regular moochie, and the mom and pops that we're buying from, they don't understand everything I just said about the velocity of money. But they do understand people are out of work. They're living worse than hand to mouth. Is that what they still call it, hand to mouth? Or paycheck to paycheck, right? And I think it's unconscionable that the federal government, because of most of the Democrats didn't pass the second stimulus bill, part of which is, in my judgment, why Trump didn't get reelected. And what they're really, in my judgment, is they're forcing the poor guy to take another look at the Democratic Party, because they're going to blame no stimulus bill on the Republicans, even though rightly or wrongly, And the poor guy, the hand-to-mouth, the ditch diggers, the plumbers, whatever, are going to continue to suffer. And add on top of that, the educational system's all fucked up. Aside that they want you to spend 150 grand to take Harvard classes at home. Forget that aside. But they're not teaching the right model. Remember, risk, reward, not. Wealth, risk, reward, not. And when I've, lectured at these universities, the best universities on the planet the last 5 years, the kids want to know why I can't get a fucking job. It's a good question. And or why am I not being taught something that I can get a fucking job? Which also is a good question. Because it wasn't up until Corona, it was not in their best interest to change the system. A tenured professor at University of Pennsylvania, Oxford, whatever, they make a couple $100 grand a year. That's unconscionable. That's no money. But in addition to that, you can't fire the cocksuckers. They have to get caught fucking a donkey in the library and getting blown by a co-ed. I mean, you just can't fire these guys and gals. Once you're tenured, you're there for life. So we got a broken fucking system that's being taught by people that can't be fucking fired. It's fucked. It just is fucked. But I knew this 35, 40, 45 years ago. And that's why the sovereign funds talk to me. Because nobody talks to them like I do. Nobody. Can't you just, well, you didn't see him, but. Mr. Peña, how do you spell cocksucker? Oh. Yes, sir.
What do you think about the universal basic income that they might introduce?
I don't know enough about it. I don't think they will introduce it. They've been talking about it for 50 years, where everybody gets a basic living wage and you're taken care of. And that's, now Sweden and a few other places have got something similar. You go to Sweden, well, let's just take Holland. I used to teach at Nijrode, Erasmus, University of Amsterdam, back in the 90s. And I had a speech called Holland is Not Heaven. The universities loved it. The business didn't like it because, because it's just easy to sit by the canal and chill and with a glass of wine and there a joint and chill. It's the perfect environment for chilling. It's not the perfect environment for commerce. Now you take that one step more, and they have allegedly universal health, etc. But I mean, Sweden and those Scandinavian countries are supposedly the happiest people on the planet, except for the Eskimos in and the old people that live to be 110 in Russian mountains. Those are the two happiest places. And then the next happiest place are Sweden and Scandinavian countries. And it's a lovely place. I mean, Sally and I traveled there a lot. But and one of the reasons Norwegian government asked me, what do we do when we run out of oil in the North Sea? Is that there is a lack of incentive in that universal program for you to do anything to change. In fact, there are studies done that it's a disincentive. It's not only just there's no incentive to do it, there's a disincentive for you to come up with change. And these guys doing the algos, and I don't know if there's a disincentive, but I know for a fact there is no incentive. If you know you can't get fired, if you know that your health care and all that shit is taken care of for life, if you know you're going to be in not the top third, but the middle third and taken care of no matter what, And you know you're going to get 31 or 46 days, whatever, holiday, statutory, and you know all these things. And plus you live longer up there because of the lack of stress, supposedly. The studies really aren't absolute about that, but it appears no stress, you live longer. Why would you change? The argument is you wouldn't. Now, I'd change, I'd get out of that fucking environment, yesterday. Guys like Marcus would get out of that environment yesterday. After World War II, in the United States, the greatest generation came back. They're going to have 2.4 babies, 1 dog, a house with a picket fence. That was the dream. Not dissimilar to the dream here in the UK. And the governments gave you the GI Bill for going back to school if you wanted to. Not just university, but the trade school, et cetera, and to buy a house. But that generation is now dead, and the generations that came subsequent to that don't have the same training. And it's true. Breaking the cycle of poverty. Blacks in the ghetto. Hispanics in the ghetto. It's tough to get out of that fucking place. Unless it's through sports or education. And it's easier, in my judgment, to get out in sports. And that's why you see so many minority kids, especially black kids, get involved in professional athletics. If you've been raised since you're 6, 7 years old, the only way you're out is if you're going to be a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan, you devote all your focus on being good at athletics. Unfortunately, education goes by the wayside, et cetera, et cetera. That's why there's so many kids that graduate from college in America, universities. They're not illiterate. I mean, world-class athlete kind. But they're close to being illiterate. Because they focus, and because they were given grades to get through school just so they could play sports. Now, I'm somewhat jealous about that because I have no athletic ability whatsoever. I just give a fuck. If I just had a modicum of athletic prowess, but I didn't and I don't. So the point is that nobody wants to bite the bullet. I thought Obama was going to bite the bullet. I didn't like Obama, but I thought he was going to bite the bullet and try to fix shit. But nobody wants the legacy of busting the system. And I thought the big crisis tsunami was we were going to fix the trillions of dollars in deficit. But that wasn't the case. Now, I'm told, I've never been there, once you get in the White House, the power is overwhelming. You think you're Jesus Christ. And you don't want your legacy to be, and I'm sure President Obama, a good shit, I guess. I don't know him, but I know people that know him. Well, fuck, I'm not going to be the first black president that I fuck the economy for 100 years. That ain't going to be me. Let the next black president do it. And I don't blame him for that. I don't. And now he lives in an $18 million house in the big island of Hawaii. Now, how did he get $18 million? He had a net worth of $600,000 when he became president. We all can figure that out, can't we? God bless him, what the hell. I'm not jealous about the money because I have money. But if I had no money, I'd be in front of the fucking embassy. I'd be marching, But guys, and all this is good for us. It's good if you pull the trigger. If you don't pull the trigger, your grandkids are going to ask you 30 or 40 years from now, what did you do? What did you do, Grandpa, during the greatest dislocation of wealth in the history of the planet? What did you do? I sat with my thumb up my ass and I watched Netflix. I just turned on Netflix the first time 3 or 4 months ago. We got all that shit on the TV. And then I can't get Netflix off. Once I get it on, I gotta get EJ or Kat or somebody to come and get it off. because I didn't take it that far. I didn't really, I just wanted to fine, then I go to bed. And then somebody will have fixed it by the time I get up. So it's back to my newsreels. But I mean, Marcus is, unfortunately, he'll still talk. Although that's several months old. He'll still talk. And because, and he doesn't want to help you. With the greatest respect, Marcus, he wants to help me. So I appreciate that. But those ones that want to help me are dwindling. Because you hound him. And there's only so much do-gooding you get in you. That's why I have a lot of respect for rabbis, nuns, and people like that just do this all the time. One of the charities, and then I'll answer your question, St. Teresa's Charity in Manila, her first one that she started in the Philippines, is split up into 3 sections. There's a section for old people, like roughly my age, or younger, a little older. There's a section for where you can come and you can drop your baby in a tray with the umbilical cord still connected, and they push the tray in, and then the nuns on the other side take it and they raise it. Okay, and then within that, there is the ones that have that are sick and have one leg missing and shit like that. Okay. Then when the kids get to be 6, 7 years old, then they take the kids to the Holy Family, another bunch of nuns, which we also support them too. We just built a mission in Sri Lanka for them. And so but some of these kids should have died in 6, 8 months. He's 26 years there. He's got a head this big. And the nuns, it's God's will, and I'm honored to be able to take care of him. I only could see the kid 2 or 3 times. I can't go in that section. His head is that fucking big. And his body's this big. He should have died 26 years ago. So they're all real do-gooders. That ain't me, and I doubt if it's any of you. Wiping the ass of a kid's head that's this big, who can't talk, that's a fucking vegetable. And you saying it's God's will and I'm honored. That's a real do-gooder. Question.
Maintaining sales? Maintaining sales.
No, you got to start sales. By the way, how many of you started a business in your life? The first 100,000 in revenue, okay? That's geometric growth. The next 100,000 in revenue, that's geometric growth. You have all participated in quantum growth. If you ever started a business and had any revenue whatsoever, from 0, that's geometric growth. Why does it stop? Because you stop playing to win and you start playing not to lose. Everybody that's ever started a business before has participated in this fucking model. The kids understand that at the universities. That they understand. But again, my grandparents would be, grandmothers, not my granddads, my grandmothers would be proud of me. It's the truth. Remember that first sale you got on that business when you first started it? Even if you were net scum, there was a high. There was a adrenaline high. Then the next sale, and then you see all the sales come in. That's no different than this. And when you couple, and this is a good way of explaining, not a good, it's one of the ways I used to explain. And when you couple that to the house flipping, no money down, you can make people understand what you do. Don't waste your time explaining this to your parents, though. You may have to explain it to a board member or two until you do your first deal. Then they will never ask you again. They'll only casually, when do we get to take money out? And then once you take money out, you will be their Jesus Christ, Moses, Muhammad, forever more. You had another question? Okay, with somebody else's hand? Okay. Okay, who's my 530? 6. Okay, the Marcus is, I thought we were going to get one of the other big hitters, but I haven't had any return call yet, so it's not likely I'm going to get a return call. But you've got a flavor, more than a flavor. But the ones that have been at it, they bitch, people stealing from them and managing. Okay? The ones that are the other end just starting, and they're all fired up and excited, and they haven't got to the management problem, although Thomas says, Mr. Peña says managing's a bitch. So I'm getting ready for management, and management is a bitch. Management is a bitch. But, they're doing it, and you've heard from people like Rebecca, the Viking bitch, having to fire somebody, and so you're getting a full flavor. But they all say it's not easy, but it is. What they're really saying, and nobody said it yet, it's not as hard as I thought it would be. Because we've all been raised, myself included, until I got started in this many, many years ago, that this is impossible. I was going to stay in that house with my pistols on my hips there in the hood. That's it. I still got cousins that live near there. That was it. And if I was really stayed out of trouble, which I didn't, I could be a cop. Nothing, honorable profession. Or if I was better in school, which I wasn't, I could be a teacher. And that's how I was raised. Might be not dissimilar to some of you. Or I could be a bank robber. I probably would have liked that better. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye, YouTube.